Sup, Eli Hodap? How you doing, man?
Oh, not too bad. I'm ready to play this game.
Yeah, so this is a very special episode of TA Place. Episode? I don't know. Is that the word we would use?
Maybe.
Yeah, Game of the Year edition. Waking Mars, TouchArcade's Game of the Year. This actually came out before we started doing this, so we thought, hey, let's show off quite a bit of this game for the people out there. And if you haven't seen it before, here's a good chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, just as a rundown here, this is a vaguely Metroidvania game. It's a 2D kind of joint where instead of combat, you're actually planting stuff. You're a space explorer, you're on Mars, and you discover tons of plant life underground.
I think it's like fair to say it's a very Metroidvania kind of game.
Yeah, I mean, like, sometimes with Metroidvania games you have to go back and forth, and I feel like this one keeps you pretty much on a good line. Like,
yeah,
you keep exploring consistently, and I like that a lot.
I would say it's just good design of those kind of games, though.
True.
You know, like unless you get some kind of substantial power up that like greatly affects like how playing through old levels or I guess old areas work, that just seems like bad design.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Maybe, I don't know.
So what we're going to do here, by the way, is we're going to play through the entire first chapter, because it ends on a really good note. And I know we're talking over this. So basically what's happening here, this guy's going underground. Everything's great, but they kind of figure out their robot has gone missing, and the robot starts dropping parts all over the place. And eventually, as you play through the game, you find out that this cave is just more than what it seems.
Spoilers.
There's a little something going on. It's pretty neat. Love the writing. Love the writing in this game.
Yeah, it's got a really cool like sci-fi vibe that I dig.
Yeah, and it's not overdone. Like there's a lot of I don't want to necessarily say nuance, but I mean, this isn't your typical hero, right? He's not like, I will save this Mars cave, and you're not an asshole like you usually are
I like
in video games.
Your dude is just kind of like a scientist, you know, like not like necessarily like super bulky or anything, just kind of just a dude.
Yeah, exactly. The control of this game, by the way, just simple touches and swipes and taps. You use your jetpack just by simply touching wherever you want to go in the environment, and he just goes.
So you just planted one of the plants called the Zoa.
Yes. This is the first plant. You'll see a lot of these throughout the majority of the game. Actually, you'll be planting a lot of these, and each plant throws out a seed, which a couple of seeds. I think they throw out like a max of 3 for a little bit. Then you can keep planting other stuff on top of that. Like towards we'll see this pretty soon, but eventually you'll get to rooms where you have to raise an overall plant level called the biomass. So you have to plant enough stuff to progress past these pillars. Which is a neat idea, and I think I have to add like the non-interactive versus interactive systems in this game are really cool. Like systemically, like this game, like you'll eventually get to caverns where if you plant just a couple things, like the environment will just take off by itself.
Right.
Like plants will start planting other plants. It's interesting to watch. Interesting to watch go down.
Yeah, I think it's really cool figuring out like how the puzzle elements of the game go into how you create like that crescendo of like just creating plant life that solves the puzzle.
Yeah. And a lot of the times, there's 5 levels of biomass. The 5th level is completely optional, but when you do hit that 5th level, in a lot of instances, you get a little bit more plot, a little bit more mystery is unraveled just for you, which is a neat touch. So if you want to go all the way through the motions, the game rewards you for that.
There you go.
I've been playing this on PC, by the way. Have you seen the PC build?
I've seen it, but I haven't played it.
It's really good. So what we're playing right now, iPhone 5. If you notice the widescreen, PC version's cool, man. It's on Steam now. I think it's even half price on Steam as well. If you're interested in taking that angle, has gamepad support, which is pretty neat.
That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like they're on top of updates for that too. That thing's been updated a couple times. Steam Cloud support, all that stuff.
It's kind of neat when a mobile game goes to Steam. Like that feels cool as opposed to like when a Steam game comes to mobile. You know, it's like, oh, a port. Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly. I guess should we talk about the developer of this, Tiger Style?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so Tiger Style is kind of an old name in the App Store. They made a splash with Spider. which was a previous Game of the Year winner, Touch Arcade, right?
2009, yeah.
I remember that year. That was the Angry Birds conversation year.
Was it? I guess
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spider is also just outstanding.
Yeah.
Especially, I think what I liked about Spider so much was that the plot was not totally spelled out for you.
Yeah.
Like you actually, there was like so many different layers of the game. Like you could just play the game, catching bugs as a spider, or you could kind of like have the like realizations as a human, like, hey, there's something weird going on here.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really slick. I guess you kind of get a kind of similar thing in this, in that like if you hit like that level 5 completion, right, where you get like just a little bit more.
Yeah, just
like,
a little
like
taste.
if you would have gone out of your way to explore like some like weird path in Spider. I think is neat. You're pretty deep in these caves.
Yeah, yeah. And as the plot progresses too, you continually go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. It's interesting how like as the cave goes deeper, the mystery does too. It's a neat little parallel.
Collect a portion of it for scanning. Affirmed. I will grab one of those seeds.
Yeah, grab those seeds, boy.
Make that money.
Nice catch.
Thank you, I appreciate it. You can really get up on these things. The more I play this game, the more impatient I get.
Scanning. This Zilla produces large quantities of.
I just love how this is a full video game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this year it was a good year too. I mean, every year is a good year, I think, for mobile. But we're starting to see more instance kind of experiences, more little things. And Waking Mars just kind of came out of nowhere. It's just like, hey guys, check out this 6-hour game. Have fun.
Yeah, and I almost wonder if that was like to the detriment of the success of Tiger Style games too. I mean, because like this has been such a year of just like weird free to play games that make millions, and I mean I think they've shared numbers on their games and they do okay, but it's not like a free to play title that's just like making money hands over fist.
Yeah, I don't think this one hit probably where they wanted it to. Probably considering all the resources and bandwidth that went into it, but.
Yeah.
Certainly deserves to be at the top of the App Store.
They've Tiger Style's actually done some really interesting talks at GDC about how they have their company structured, in that like everyone has a share of the project based on the amount of time that they put into it.
Oh,
which kind of like goes into this like complicated profit split kind of thing.
Yeah, that would be.
It's kind of an interesting way to do it, because you're like rewarding the people that spend the most time on it.
Yeah, that are really killing themselves over it.
Yeah, while still having shares for people that like might only spend a couple days like working on sound effects or whatever.
Right, and might potentially make something really cool that the guys who are heads down on it, can't see.
Right.
It's a neat idea. I'll have to catch that on the vault. I haven't seen any Tiger Style talks.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a really old GDC talk, like maybe even GDC 2010.
Oof.
GDC Austin, back before that was GDC Online.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. Isn't that over now, by the way? Is that GDC LA?
I think I don't know if they're still going to do GDC Online or not. I know there's another GDC, like, specifically for mobile games now that has some weird name that's going to be in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if that's replacing GDC Online.
Yeah, I can't remember either. I feel like I read a story about it leaving Austin.
So you detect no
Yeah, last time I went, it was kind of disappointing. I mean, it seems like the main GDC is really where it's at.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel kind of bad for people that go to GDC Austin, because, like, if you're some, like, indie developer, and you're like, oh, I can afford to go to Austin because it's not as expensive as San Francisco, and then you go, like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like the best bang for the buck because so few people are there.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of free-to-play discussions and things like that. Things that might not necessarily concern you, to be honest.
Well, I mean, that's the case for regular GDC too, but, you lack the thousands of people around to, like, go to Denny's with, and, all the things that actually make a convention like that awesome.
Denny's!
I guess in Austin you have barbecue, which you could argue is better than Denny's.
Yeah, you might be able to argue that. You might. Man, Denny's everywhere is always gross. Is that a universal thing? There's no clean Denny's on the planet?
Well, I like how the Denny's in San Francisco that we go to. Remember last year how it was just like their door was just like broken? Like doesn't matter.
Well, the
We
first
never
day,
closed.
yeah, the first day it was broke, like, and then they when we came back the next day, they had just taken a piece of wood and covered up where the door was. Remember that? It was like a piece of wood, then another door.
Yeah, and we were there at like 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like 20 people that all have like multiple iPads out on the table, and there's just like homeless people sleeping
Right.
like the booth next to us.
Oh man, Denny's, never a good idea. It sure sounds like it though initially. Like for 2 seconds, Denny's sounds like a great idea, and then you get to Denny's and you're like, man, this wasn't a good idea.
You know what's a worse idea than Denny's though is that Mel's Diner place in San Francisco.
Yeah, that place is pretty gross.
That's really what you miss out on not going to these conventions is the horrifying late night eating.
Yeah. Second dinner.
Sometimes third dinner.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That one Denny's was like one over the line, I think. That one night.
The best late night eating story I thought was the dude that was taking photos for the Mac Rumors keynote. Remember when we went to Mel's?
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, I had to get up early the next day for the keynote too, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get like a nice, neutral, easy kind of snack here. Like nothing crazy. Just, you know, something that's just gonna like push me over the edge, and you know, like I'm just gonna go to bed full. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
This dude orders like a double order of like hot wings from a diner.
And I ordered some too because I was like, whatever. This is the grossest stuff ever.
I think they were microwaved.
They were microwaved buffalo wings, and they were like just covered in this like gelatinous red ooze. It was like it had like a consistency, like they put too much cornstarch in it. You know what I mean? Like it was just, ugh.
Sauce packet.
Yes, yeah. It's been sitting in a freezer for way too long, too many years.
Gross.
It was so gross. Man, my man ate a lot of those too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Because he ate mine. I remember that. Man.
And he sat outside of Moscone and waited for like 8 hours.
Oh,
The
man.
world's worst stomach ache.
He also had the world's best camera scope. I don't know if you remember like the crazy camera that he brought, but he had
Yeah.
the scope on the end of this, like where we could from the top of our hotel we could see like 4 streets down, almost in perfect clarity on his
Like
computer.
people on the sidewalk.
Yeah, so I went out there and walked 4 blocks and got on camera because I thought it was so crazy. It
As a waste product,
was a good time.
colonies such as this grow
So anyway, Waking Mars, right? It's a video game. As you play this game, you learn more and more about the plant life, and there's a little research journal in the game. But what I find, another cool aspect of this game is you legitimately learn how these plants interact with each other, almost on your own, like experientially. Like you'll do something to a plant and immediately recognize that it's not necessarily rewarding you, but it's reacting to what you did, right? I like
Yeah.
that a lot.
I was just thinking out loud. But this is a dead end.
A lot of proactive mechanics in this.
Yeah, definitely a lot of experimenting with how everything works, which I think is. But I never got to a point where I felt like I didn't really know what I had to do though, which I feel like is such like an interesting line in game design, where it's like you come across puzzles that involve utilizing different tools, but not in a confusing way where you get frustrated.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's some parts in this, as you play, just to look at it hypercritically for no reason at all, that I felt was kind of meandering, but those were mostly exercises in your own creativity, right? It was just kind of like, all right, you're in this place called the Meadow, go nuts. And we also put this nasty plant in here, which you aren't going to see in this video. It's called a Pharanzoa. It shoots basically lava balls, which has a tendency to mess up your plant life if you're not too careful. Octo is the robot, FYI.
Yeah, but yeah. The emoticon talking.
No, that's Art. Octo is
Oh.
the robot who was there before us.
Yeah, yeah. Art is the dude in your little space station, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
This kind of makes me want to go back and replay Spider again.
yeah. Does it?
Yeah.
I pick up Spider every once in a while. I haven't really committed to it very seriously yet. I definitely, yeah. I think you're right. I think you just convinced
You've
me.
never played through Spider to completion?
No.
Oh man, dude, that game is great.
See, I'm gonna have to do it now. I'm gonna have to do it. You've convinced me just by being like, I think I'd like to play Spider. Then I start thinking about it.
Yeah, I think he even got updated for Retina iPad.
Oh, really?
Maybe.
Wow, those guys keep on top of it.
I should probably check that.
Fact checking will kill TA plays.
It's true.
We'll just kill it. You can't do that. I prefer being wrong.
I'm sensing a plot point approaching.
Yeah, it's coming up pretty soon. And there's tons of chapters in this game. Like I said before, it's 5-6 hours. Tons of content here to play. Which again makes it pretty remarkable in this space.
This is camera hardware dispossessed by Octo.
I tell you what, just straight up, I'd be really ticked off if I had some super expensive robot navigating a cave on Mars and it started dropping equipment all over the place.
Yeah.
Data is inconclusive.
I'd be
Octo stopped
ticked.
attempting to transmit and instead dispossessed the module.
Like, hey robot,
Mystery deepens.
why don't you keep that camera on and why don't you come back and tell me what you saw instead of
Why
just
don't you-
leaving it in a cave?
Send us some radio signals.
Yeah, do
Sorts.
something. You know, like a robot, like we programmed you to do. There we
Yes,
go.
sir.
Here's the moment.
Things get real.
So the real collision of mechanics in this game is the more you plant stuff, the more of this corrosive material materializes in the environment, and you find out that during this scene right here that you're disrupting the cave in a pretty serious way by being Mr. Plant Man.
The plant manager, if you will.
The plant manager.
I used a second order approximation for the diffusion functions, which should be accurate enough. You agree?
I love the art style too, by the way.
So check this out.
Yeah,
This is
the
directly
art in
from
this game is super slick. And I actually saw on Twitter that the artist is like looking for freelance work. So if you
Here's what it looks like now.
are a game developer that
Distribution, much higher density.
is in the need for art, I guess,
Yeah.
like
For the
this,
past 8
Look
months,
'em
the
up.
slime has been traveling through rock and reproducing.
There we
Bursts of
go.
activity
Big trouble.
was caused
Right
by
there.
my actions
Uh-oh.
today.
Right there.
Definitely. Turns out it's triggered by compounds the halide release. You grew the halide,
I like the voice
acid
work,
started
too.
dripping.
yeah,
It's
really
understated
good.
stuff. Like usually when you get voice talent that's not readily recognizable, they kind of tend to,
Crazy.
Overdo it.
yeah, exactly.
Ooh, there's more. You remember
And these
those
just feel
strange
like
readings
dudes
we noticed
talking.
when we
I like that.
landed?
Right, yeah.
I used the subsurface shallow radar, and I'm pretty sure this is a body of liquid.
And I like
water.
Liang. Like I like his seriousness just cracks me up every time. 'Cause this guy takes everything very seriously, and I love it.
Simply appeared?
He's
Moves that way.
he's a scientist. That's what you do.
So much to research.
Well, Monty will crack a joke every once in a while, and it seems like this cat just does not get it.
Rapid changes that would not occur naturally. The cerebrain are the cause.
But again, I mean, that's something like character. It's something you never talk about in iOS games, really. I mean, it's so rare.
Yeah.
You know, on our honorable mentions list, we have The Devil's Attorney, which I think is another game that really has some neat character in it.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, it's kind of weird how so many iOS games, like the character development and story, is just secondary to some kind of endless free-to-play rat race these days.
Which in some ways, I can see why they do it, because sometimes when you flick on your phone, you don't really want, a narrative-led kind of a drama-ish kind of game, but sometimes you want something like this, when you're sitting back, leaning back with your iPad or your iPhone. Love it.
So your little space habitat has crumbled.
Yeah.
You're back in the cave.
You got 24 hours to live.
What?
I have discovered a fact.
Getting serious, getting heavy over here.
Structurally
I have discovered a fact.
I love this cat.
I agree with your
Again, I would be really ticked at my machines doing things like this. And be like, hey robot, shut up.
Obtain a signal from base camp.
And it is just us two.
I tightened the leash a little bit on my cyborgs and AI.
Thank you.
They need to know their role and their place.
Mm-hmm. Good news. Scans report that you are awake and have suffered without permanent injury.
Is there
It kind of reminds me of Claptrap in a way.
From here?
Yeah,
Borderlands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Accessible to airport.
He doesn't dance though.
Not quite as annoying.
Then I will have to search for some other way out of the cave.
What was it? Look at me, I'm dancing. I think he said that what, roughly 3 million times in the first game.
Something like that.
Yeah, roughly.
I have confirmed your logic.
So here we go. This
Proceeds.
is this is Waking Mars, the first chapter of the game. I think this is a good stopping point.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so this is TouchArcade.com's Game of the Year. Check it out now on the App Store if you haven't yet. We love it. Also check TouchArcade.com for our best of lists throughout the week, as well as our big Game of the Year post, which lists our honorable mentions and our runner-up.